I'm Mary Capone, and I will add my welcome and thanks to all of you for joining us tonight to honor 3 strong women. In your program is a quote from Jane Addams. "The good we secure for ourselves is precarious and uncertain until it is secured for all of us and incorporated into our common life." Each award has that quote inscribed upon it. Eloise Cranke has a life growing out of her deep and abiding faith and grounded and supported by loving family and friends. Her life exemplifies one that has worked tirelessly to secure that good for all. Whether working for racial, LGBTQ, immigrant, indigenous, or international justice, Eloise's faith compels her to act. I may have just met Eloise at a WILPF meeting, or it is possible that I met her at a drone protest, lobbying at the state capitol, or on a peace march, or at a demonstration for justice in Palestine. Eloise has traveled extensively and has a lifelong deep involvement in many capacities with the United Methodist Church. She has an impressive and interesting resume and a calendar that would exhaust most of us. She continues a legacy of involvement in church and community. As her mother and grandmother both had her high energy and a focus on others. I truly could spend all evening listing her work and accomplishments. She also gardens, writes letters to the editor, sings in a few choirs. You'll have to ask her about singing in Carnegie Hall. Eloise continues to be described as the heart and soul of the Methodist Federation for Social Action. You can applaud that one. Eloise has taught music, directed choirs, led youth groups. She directed Hawthorne Hill and was the regional director for AFSC, covering 11 states when she retired. She has been the chief organizer for the United Methodist Peace Walk each June. Her peace work spans decades and goes back to the Vietnam era. As for her work on racial justice, you'll have to ask her about the cross that was burned in her front yard. She has much to be proud of, but is most proud of her daughters, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And now it is my great honor to award Eloise Cranke, a strong, feisty woman powering change in our community.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mary, and thanks to all of you. It is indeed a great honor, and I am deeply humbled to receive this award from WILPF. Sorry. I think I was first introduced to WILPF by strong, feisty women like Lucy Krause, Sherry Hutchison, Maggie Rowland, Jean Basinger, Jane Majors, and so many others. For most of my adult life, working for peace has been a passion. When I moved to Des Moines in 1990 and began to look for ways to be involved in peace work, I soon discovered WILPF. And what an amazing organization for peace it is, as you've already heard a lot. Whether it was the Vietnam War protests, Hiroshima and Nagasaki observances, Tax Day events, trying to close the School of the Americas, opposition to the Iraq War, many, many other issues, WILPF was there leading the way and working and speaking out for peace. And of course that work continues today with all the strong, feisty women you see here and you're hearing from. And it continues truly around the world. The theme for this evening is powering change. There are so many issues and behaviors crying out for radical change. Last month, WILPF was a co-sponsor of an event that called attention to places where our children and ways which our children are being killed. Certainly change is needed along our border, where immigrant families seeking asylum are suffering. And in the cases of children, some have even died. We need to change our policy around our support of Saudi Arabia's war in Yemen so that children there no longer die of starvation. We have a little movement there finally in the House, but call your senators because we have a long ways to go there. What about teenagers in our own country stopped and in some tragic cases killed due to racial profiling? And how long will we continue to support the Israeli government as it drags young children out of bed in the middle of the night, takes them to military prisons with no access to parents or even any attorneys? And then there's the critical issue of climate change, threatening the very existence of our planet if radical change does not come soon. Have you contacted your legislators about the Green New Deal that Mary mentioned earlier? You need to do that. Meantime, with the president threatening to build even more nuclear weapons, the nuclear clock ticks relentlessly on toward the 0 hour, warning us that we must change our policies and work seriously for nuclear disarmament. The list where change is needed goes on and on. I won't try to do all of it tonight. And all of these things are interrelated in our work for justice and peace. So what does it take to power change? It takes seeking out alternative news sources and becoming informed, attending endless meetings, writing and calling legislators, challenging the status quo, and working in coalition with other like-minded groups. It takes dedication, courage, persistence, and tireless hard work, traits abundantly found in the women of WILPF. And I am happy and grateful to be counted in their number. Sometimes it's hard to be hopeful in a world such as ours, so full of war, violence, and injustice. But WILPF is an organization that gives me hope. When I see WILPF members locally, nationally, and around the world faithfully working for peace, I can believe that peace is possible. So thanks again for this very humbling honor. Thanks to the Raging Grannies and to this branch of WILPF and to all of you who continue the work. You give me hope for the future. Thank you.